have an initiative called the Waste Bank. The Waste Bank allows us to transact with the vendors that are on the road, meaning that a vendor would call in and would log a call, and a transport would then be dispatched to pick up the waste that the vendor has then collected.
We are involved in surfacing of roads. We manufacture asphalt, and also we do placement of the material in terms of laying of the surfacing.
In the very simplest of terms, the Billy Energy Group is building essentially a privately held Eskom. Our business is to generate electricity.
So traditionally, we've had one provider of electricity. There was a program called the Renewable Energy Independent Power Producer Program that was initiated by the IPP office. With this project, it basically allowed for different power producers to build and operate power plants that will connect to the national grid.
Our focus is really on economic development, and we're looking at standard matrices such as the increase in household income, for example. That for us is quite important to observe over time and to ensure that the investments that we're making enable households to increasingly be able to afford a decent and an improved quality of life.
The product is called a dip tube. In essence, what it is, it's a fuel profiling device.
I used to watch a lot of television and movies, and that those characters were like my friends, and the love for telling stories really came from that for me.
It's a family business. The grounding was there, and I've just tried to continue the legacy.
We manufacture concrete blocks, produce it, cure it, and then we sell it to customers.
We do sports nutrition from whey protein to mass gainers, from assisting for weight loss, up to sports performance, endurance.
We started with labor broking, labor hire of the different mining skills. I started being involved in providing them with different services, ventilation, structures, maintenance of their conveyor belts. We also did the stone dust barriers for underground to prevent fire.
We really want to build our company into a brand, a household brand. Every home, or every black home specifically in a township, should be able to refer to Bangula and indirectly be referring to recycling as a lingo.
It was difficult because there were times whereby I stood some months not getting salary.
When I was studying, I figured out that I could spend less time working for someone else and dedicate all of that time building my own business.
I wanted to have a lot more fun.
And I really wanted to challenge myself and say, how can I then go out there and create jobs?
I grew up in Rustenburg, back in the villages, with not much access to television or whatever.
For me, I like inventing. You know, I need to create something new.
You know, the reality of it is that it's always said that there aren't particularly young black people who are good enough to sort of be HODs in the film industry. And the idea with this is really to sort of prove that theory wrong.
We took a proper risk there, you know, 5 young people, none of technical inclination or background, and went into a very technical field.
Even if it terrifies you, so what? Is that you try, you fail, you try again. That's really what it is, as opposed to just sitting on the sidelines all the time.
People don't even know that I'm a director of this company.
Unless you park outside.
Unless I'm parked outside, but they don't even know my car.
You were younger than everyone across the table.
There is the perception that you have to work much harder to be taken seriously.
I was 22 when I tried to get funding for my business. I think there are very few people who would give close to 5 million rand to a company that's being started up by a 22-year-old.
People are going to be looking at you and waiting for you to run off into the bathroom and cry because something's not working out.
Your employees not believing that you are the main person behind the wheel, you know?
Well, they relate to me well. My staff is very good, respectful of me, so, you know, we work well together.
There's plenty of challenges because, firstly, we're an innovative and inventive company. So with that is obtaining patents. So the patent attorneys, their fees are extremely high.
Sleepless nights.
Sleepless nights.
For us, yeah.
We lacked a lot in capital. I mean, it was a small startup. if you don't have a proper funding for something, you can't really progress further.
But if I think about if I had to do this process on my own, I don't have the education of how these contracts work. You have to partner with a bigger production company, and the reality is that the bigger production companies are white owned.
The business model, it's the challenge on its own.
Being 22, you definitely lack experience, so there's a lot of places we did actually end up knocking your head.
I think the biggest challenge that we experienced was moving the business from an informal type of setup to an industrial size setup.
With regards to the funding, we went to different institutions. We were turned down. We didn't have assets to back up our funding. The experience in the market wasn't there. They didn't feel comfortable.
A lot of the narrative we were getting was, why don't you go into mining? Why don't you look at this sector? Why energy? Energy won't work.
I'd have to say business is very hard. Whether you've been in it for quite a while or whether you're starting out, you need to find exactly where you're lacking and try to sort those issues out.
As ambitious as we are, we don't know much about managing a big company, from financials to the actual running of the company. We've never actually run a company of this magnitude.
We wouldn't have started this company if we thought that because we're not engineers or because we haven't worked in this sector, we can't do it.
We never gave up. We started small on a smaller scale. That's how we gained the experience into the industry.
You don't need to come from a wealthy background for you to start your own business at the end of the day. Or you don't need to be an old person like us. As black people, we prefer to have older people to become the owners of businesses like the one that I'm involved in.
IDC has provided quite a lot of support.
Basically, they have given us money to help us with shooting the film.
They also contributed in getting us a bigger machine which operates faster. So now we're able to make more volumes than before.
What I also enjoyed about the whole exercise is that I learned about my own business, things that I could do better in my own business and to improve it.
Today I'm where I am at the end of the day is because of IDC.
I must say I don't have nightmares knowing that we'll have the cash flow, enough cash flow to shoot and be able to play, to settle crew invoices timelessly, to pay all our suppliers, and then we all hit people.
Their funding gave us those means to actually go out there, get orders, and be able to deliver on those orders.
They champion our cause a lot.
Our entrepreneur wants to do sometimes too many things all at once. So the business support element is there also to say, okay, no, let's just focus on this first.
There's a lot of mentoring and skills development that's happening through this program.
Post-business support, we receive mentorship from a company called MMB Consulting. This is an IDC affiliated company. They advise us as to what we can do for the next month, and as well as providing a platform that allows us to grow in terms of engaging us and growing our knowledge.
And Awetu was set up based on the fundamental premise that we're wasting our entrepreneurial talent in South Africa. And that if we could develop new models for identifying and investing in people with talent, especially in the poorest communities in South Africa, we could have a massive impact, a massive social impact, and grow a really exciting business. With the support of government, primarily through the Jobs Fund and from CIFA, which is owned by the IDC, we've incubated over 1,500 entrepreneurs now and developed one of the lowest cost job creation models in the country in a space where, quite frankly, people had forgotten about because they didn't know what to do, which is the informal and micro space. So basically the IDC has enabled us to round out not only our own product offering, but to provide something very special in the entrepreneurship space in South Africa.
I'm very confident in the IDC and their ability to support and to help nurture an idea all the way through.
It makes our drive a lot easier because we know that there's an ear and there's a financier who understands what it means to commercialize technology.
We're not everyone all about the parties and going out drinking, We have a whole lot of people who have so much potential to make a success of themselves, to create jobs for our country.
There's incredible support for entrepreneurs in South Africa as long as you have the resources and the model.
I think a lot of people think there's only certain ways that you can make money, and the more we can open that world up and say there are more options of how you can find employment, of how you can be useful and contribute to the country, the better.
People need to see someone like myself, especially around here in Mpumalanga, because they tend to think that funds from your IDC and other organizations, maybe they are given to those people that are sitting at Sandton only.
There is no economy of the country unless we're talking about young people and empowering young people.
If you cannot afford the equipment or the startup capital, you can be able to afford your likes of IDC to fund you and assist you and develop you to be a successful entrepreneur.
Being able to contribute to building an entity that will go down as being a massive or a large contributor to the power pool on the continent is exciting.
You know, to wake up and come here and work even harder every day and push every day so that people out there can know that young people can actually make it, and a full and 100% youthful company can actually make a great difference in the community and in the economy of South Africa.
Oof. I see myself having a bigger plan, way bigger than this.
Wow, you know, when I think of the growth that we can potentially achieve, I think of Africa.
We want to be a part of, you know, continuing to employ people coming into the industry, new people.
We're moving more into the export market now. We've opened some nice doors, so we're just going to keep on pushing and going. I've got a great team behind me.
Have a sense of stability for the country, and that we will not be reliant on any single type of power generation.
The IDC is a great support. I feel if they were bold enough to take that step with us into direct retail, I personally think that they'll be able to get us all the way.
Recently got some interest from Brazil. I've been to the United States to promote it there. Oil major companies that's here in South Africa are also very keen and interested.
I just want to see the company growing bigger and bigger.
Someone in America starts a business. We are looking at the whole world. Why can't we?
I think every young person should believe in their ideas.
They used to see me carrying a school bag, walking around in the dusty road of the locations, so they can see that anything is possible.
Don't hide away from your fear.
I would just say, just go and do it. Take the chance. Yeah, you're young enough to start over, so why not?
No matter who you are, if you apply yourself properly, you can actually be part of big industry.
Well, we hope to become multimillionaires together one day, very soon.
Yeah.
Next month.
Why not?
Look at us now.
Yeah.